Good morning, everyone. Bon matin à tous. I'm Greg McLean, the Chair of the Board of Directors for the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Moncton. I am pleased to welcome everyone to this 6th annual State of the Tri-Communities. Despite the challenges posed by COVID-19 over the past 2 years, the Chamber has been able to present this signature event to our community. That would not be possible without the great support from our sponsors. Our CEO, John Wishart, will officially thank each of them a little later in our program. This year's State of the Tri-Communities is a little different as we continue to live with COVID-19 and our events remain virtual. But we believe we have packaged an entertaining and informative event to help us kick off the business year. As we near the end of a second full year in the grip of COVID-19, I want to thank our business community for its continued resilience and hard work. It hasn't been easy for anyone in the past 2 years, and as the Omicron variant continues to dramatically increase the case count, we aren't in full recovery mode yet. Your Chamber of Commerce has been working extremely hard on your behalf during the past 2 years, staging virtual events like this one to keep us connected, and working with the government at all levels to lobby for the support you need to keep your doors open. Our rapid test distribution program changed focus earlier this month, following a direction from the government. But we know our efforts to provide more than 155,000 test kits to 1,000 area businesses has made a positive impact to keep workplaces safe. I wish you the very best in 2022 and look forward, along with the other members of the CCGM board, to seeing you in person at a Chamber event later this year. Enjoy the show.
Good morning and welcome, Greater Moncton. My name is Harrison Burton and I'm the VP of Video at Brainworks. Brainworks is proud to sponsor the State of the Tri-Communities for our 6th year. It is an honor to have been in this role since the very beginning. Congratulations to the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Moncton and for all the sponsors for moving forward even during a lockdown. While we're sorry we couldn't be more hands-on with this year's production, we're thrilled to hear from our mayors today on what's been accomplished and what lies ahead. And congratulations to Xavier and his team for pulling off the video component of today's event. Way to go. We will be thrilled to help even more next year. 2021 was nothing short of a major challenge for each and every one of us. For so many frontline workers and business owners, this was our most difficult year yet. Our collective determination and tenacity to not only continue and thrive is admirable, and is the very thing that gives such a powerful pulse and momentum to our community. To all Greater Monktonians, we'd like to congratulate each of you for your resilience, focus on the future, and optimistic mindset. Let's also take a moment to recognize how many in attendance here this morning have gone above and beyond to help assist, support, and guide each other. This is a trait that's always been part of our tri-communities, but it's shone through even more ever since the beginning of the pandemic. Although 2021 had its fair share of obstacles, our communities have also experienced some incredible growth. Canadians far and wide chose to pick up and move to our beautiful tri-community region and call it home. For some it was exactly that, coming home. For others it was about finding and creating a new home. And it's just like any home, ours filled with support, and we'll have each other to fall back on when times get tough. Through all the challenges and uncertainty, we turn to our homes literally and figuratively to find comfort, answers, and guidance. And you know, when Brainworks lost its home to a fire last spring, over 400 people and businesses reached out to offer their help and support. Talk about a tight-knit community. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. So let's keep the notion of home in mind for 2022, as we, the business community, collectively seek solutions for the homelessness in Moncton, Dieppe, and Riverview. And remember that for those unhoused in our community, an entire support system is needed, something that goes beyond a roof to keep warm. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it should be that we can no longer ignore the growing need for climate action at all levels. In 2022, the Greater Moncton business community has a role to play in this as we look to reduce our carbon footprint by cutting waste and emissions wherever possible. We believe that this should remain a top priority as we plan for the future. We can be a beacon of hope on the world stage for what is possible for a growing community in the face of climate change. Brainworks is able to sponsor events like these and champion causes like Love for Local for one reason: the support of our community, our clients, our suppliers, and our friends, all of you here today. Small businesses have never needed our support more than they do right now. We strongly encourage each and every one of you to keep supporting local businesses in any way that you can, but also to think about what local support looks like in a non-pandemic economy as we look to the future. At Brainworks, our focus in our 11th year in Greater Moncton is to be a creative force for good. And that's possible thanks to all of you. We look forward to welcoming you to our new home, the Imagination Center, later in 2022 at the corner of King and Main. We are fueled by gratitude. We hope you enjoyed today's event, and we can't wait to see what you accomplish over this next year.
Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. My name is Renée Chiasson, and I'm a Commercial Account Manager with RBC in Moncton. Je m'appelle Renée Chiasson et je suis directrice des comptes commerciaux chez RBC à Moncton. I am pleased to extend greetings on behalf of RBC and my colleagues across the Tri-Communities region. Je suis heureuse d'être parmi vous aujourd'hui et je vous salue au nom de la RBC et de mes collègues des trois communautés. RBC is proud to sponsor this event because of our deep roots in the Tri-Communities and our belief that our businesses will succeed only when the communities we serve succeed. RBC est fier de parrainer cet événement en raison de nos liens proches avec nos trois communautés, ainsi que notre conviction que notre entreprise réussira seulement lorsque les communautés que nous desservons réussiront. Speaking of strong communities, this week is RBC Future New Brunswick Week. En parlant de liens étroits, cette semaine est la semaine RBC pour l'avenir du Nouveau-Brunswick. With our partners at Future New Brunswick, we are celebrating great stories of youth across the province who are developing their skills through experiential learning. Avec nos partenaires d'Avenir Nouveau-Brunswick, nous célébrons des histoires extraordinaires venant de jeunes partout dans la province qui sont capables de développer leurs compétences grâce à l'apprentissage par expérience. It is through the stewardship and support of authentic, dependable, and caring leaders like the leaders of Moncton, Riverview, and Dieppe that these youth will help shape and make New Brunswick a better place to live and work. C'est grâce au soutien d'un leader dédié, fiable et passionné, comme ceux de Moncton, Riverview et Dieppe, que ces jeunes contribueront à faire du Nouveau-Brunswick un excellent endroit où vivre et travailler. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the event. Merci à tous et profitez de l'événement.
Good morning, everyone. Bon matin à tous. I'm John Wishart, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Moncton. and it's my pleasure to officially welcome you to the 6th annual State of the Tri-Communities. Unfortunately, COVID-19 continues to present challenges for in-person events. So again, in this 2022 edition, we are coming to you live but virtual. Quelle que soit la plateforme, cet événement est un important moment de référence pour inaugurer la nouvelle année, pour entendre les maires de trois communautés sur l'année qui vient de se terminer et sur leurs espoirs et prévisions pour 2022. I would like to thank our sponsors, without whom we would not be able to present this annual event. A big thanks goes to our presenting sponsor, Brainworks Marketing, as well as corporate sponsors, RBC Commercial Properties Limited and O'Brien Materials Handling. Sponsorship of chamber events is always important, but over the past 2 years, as we have shifted to virtual platforms, it has become absolutely critical. Today's event will be unlike any previous State of the Tri-Communities. We aren't in person, of course, and you won't hear the three mayors deliver their standard speeches. A few weeks ago, we spent a half day with each of the mayors, visiting various locations around the Tri-Communities and talking to them about accomplishments, hopes, and concerns. What you are about to see are 3 separate mini-documentaries, one each for Dieppe, Riverview, and Moncton. À la fin de ces 3 vidéos, nous vous revendrons un direct studio pour une séance de questions-réponses avec la maire. C'est à ces moments-là que nous aurons besoin de votre participation. At any point during the next 75 minutes, please use the chat function on your screen and post a question for all or any of our mayors. We'll get to as many as we can as time allows. C'est ce, j'ai le plaisir de vous présenter notre première conversation vidéo avec le maire Yvon Lapierre de Dieppe. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui, place 1604 avec le maire de Dieppe, Yvon Lapierre. Bonjour Yvon.
Bonjour John.
Ça va bien?
Dangereusement bien, comme toujours.
Ah oui, moi aussi. Monsieur le maire, les investissements privés dans le domaine de la construction semblent être une hausse pour votre municipalité. Quels sont les impacts positifs de ces investissements pour Dieppe?
Bien, évidemment, ça nous permet de recevoir d'autres personnes comme telles, parce qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui veulent déménager à Dieppe. Et évidemment, il y a aussi un commerce. Dans le cas de la bâtisse ici, il y a aussi un étage commercial. Alors, c'est un beau projet de combinaison de logement, appartements et commercial. Alors, c'est vraiment l'idéal pour la ville de Dieppe. Évidemment, ça nous amène des revenus de taxes foncières, qui est aussi très agréable comme tel. Alors, l'année passée, au cours de cette année, en fait, 2021, nous avons eu une très grande croissance, plus de 100 millions d'investissements, de permis de construction qui ont été donnés durant cette année 2021. Alors, c'est une année record et c'est 3 années records de suite pour la ville de Dieppe.
C'est beau.
Bien, ça nous permet, c'est bien, mais ça nous permet évidemment de réduire notre taux de taxation de 9 cents. Alors, c'est substantiel, c'est énorme vraiment pour tous les citoyens, mais aussi pour les commerces qui déjà payent des taxes élevées. Alors, de voir cette réduction-là, parce que dans leur marché, il n'y aura pas eu d'augmentation d'évaluation de la taxe, mais il y aura eu une bonne réduction de la taxe.
C'est bon. So we're now on Rue Acadie avec le maire, and Mayor Lapierre, obviously 2021 was another difficult year due to the pandemic. How has Dieppe worked to ensure the well-being of its citizens during this difficult time?
Well, as you said, it was a difficult time and still is a difficult time. Really, we had the staff focus on making sure our fire chief was the one in charge of the program, making sure that we followed all the rules, and we did a lot of communication with citizens, but over time, of course, people get tired, so they need to be reminded, and I think that's what we've seen over this almost 2 years now of pandemic, that you need to have frequent communication, and keep the people involved in the process, communicating with them. So I think that's the best way. So far, we've been somewhat successful when I look at the numbers, and I think our commerce people, business people, have also paid a lot of attention to those numbers because they literally financially live and die by those numbers.
Nous sommes ici en Sherbrooke, et Yvon, quels sont les principaux investissements en infrastructure prévus par les municipalités à la prochaine année?
Sur le chemin Bourque ici, comme vous pouvez voir, il y a eu beaucoup de travail qui a été fait dans la dernière année. C'était un projet de 5 millions de dollars, un projet d'infrastructure, eau et égout, nouvelle rue et aussi une piste de marche et aussi pour les bicyclettes. Pour l'année 2022, nous allons dépenser 29 millions de dollars dans divers projets d'infrastructure. Ça couvre tout à partir d'un projet majeur autour de l'aéroport pour améliorer la pression d'eau et encore une fois continuer à faire du développement économique autour de l'aéroport, mais aussi des choses plus simples également, comme des projets de réfraction des routes, parce que l'asphalte est endommagé. Alors il y a beaucoup de travail comme ça qu'on fait, qui est un travail avant-garde un peu in terms of infrastructure to continue to protect our assets. So it's very important that we protect our assets, nos actifs communautaires, les routes. On a des projets de faire du travail avec la province du Nouveau-Brunswick si le partenaire veut y être, parce qu'on a quand même des chemins qui sont encore des chemins provinciaux dont on partage le coût des réparations. Nous avons nos argents en place, nous attendons d'avoir des réponses de la province du Nouveau-Brunswick. Alors, un autre projet d'infrastructure majeur pour nous durant l'année 2022, c'est un terrain synthétique pour le soccer et tous les sports de gazon. Le soccer, rugby qui prend beaucoup de popularité et le hockey sur gazon. Alors, tous ces sports-là, on parle d'un projet de 2,3 millions de dollars. Alors, ça sera autour de l'école Mathieu-Martin et du collège communautaire. Alors, on attend des soumissions qui vont rentrer et c'est un beau projet communautaire encore là pour nos jeunes. C'est important de prendre soin de nos jeunes et ça, c'est la meilleure manière, c'est de les supporter dans leurs activités communautaires.
Terrain artificiel?
C'est ça, synthétique, surface synthétique, terrain, oui. C'est ça.
So Yvon, Dieppe has received a number of recognitions over the last few years, and I'd like to know a little bit about those as well as how you're going to maintain your leadership in those areas.
So Dieppe received a prize from the FCM, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, for our efforts, our overall efforts in the community to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, green GSEs. So the example was it's a prize we received for that, and an example of that was some of the work that's been done around the arenas and whatnot, improving things all around the community. So we're continuing with projects to improve again. We want to, in terms of the operation of this arena, in fact, we're looking at net zero operation. So we're going to be, there's a project we're awaiting a final approval from the FCM support, but essentially we're going to install panels,
solar panels?
Solar panels, okay. To generate our own electricity for the operation of the arena. So it's a major project. A couple of $1 million involved, but we want to continue in that direction. You know, we're a young community. We want to continue to grow. We want to attract people to Dieppe, and I think the whole environmental impact that we've had over the past few years, and we want to continue to work with the FCM, with l'Union des Municipalités du Nouveau-Brunswick, where again then we participated in a project with electric vehicles. Okay. We have a couple of electric vehicles in our float. We want to continue to grow our float of electrical vehicles. So for us it's very important. We want to leg that to the next generation, right, so that they can continue that work.
You mentioned earlier that you've really embraced process improvement too at City Hall and in your operations.
Continuous improvement is part of life at City Hall, and that's just another example of that. Our employees have really embraced the projects. We have a full-time employee doing nothing but continuous improvement.
Okay, great. So Yvon, of course, one of the big projects that's come on stream is the Uniplex. It was born during a difficult time during COVID, but I understand it's had a really good start.
We've had to, because of COVID, we've had to move back our official opening a number of times, but we're very happy with the outcome. The feedback has been extraordinary from the public that have attended tournaments, where we've been able to have tournaments, when we've been able to have tournaments. So we're very, very happy with the outcome of this project. It's the largest project that the city has done in recent years. Of course, City Hall back in the year 2007 or so was a larger project, but this one is one of the largest projects, and it was really needed in the community. We needed a fourth ice surface, but there's so much more than an arena there and rinks. We have a greenhouse in there that people can go in and use that space. We have the training rooms. We have three rooms for the community, for different organizations. So it's just the walking trail, yes, that is also there. So there's so much there, and we're very proud of this new project, and continue to grow the community and attract quality. With the quality infrastructure, you attract people.
Can't wait for the official opening.
A lot of people are waiting for the official opening. It's been a few times pushed back.
It'll happen.
It'll happen.
Okay. Yvon, Dieppe est les plus grandes villes francophones au Nouveau-Brunswick, au Québec, et se démarque par sa fierté francophone. Pouvez-vous nous parler de l'importance accordée par les municipalités à la francophonie?
Évidemment, oui, effectivement, la ville de Dieppe est la plus grande ville francophone à l'extérieur du Québec. Alors, pour nous, c'est vraiment important. On est ici, par exemple, dans la paroisse Saint-Anselme, oui. Effectivement. Puis on oublie des fois que avant Dieppe, il y avait plusieurs petites communautés qui ont toutes été fusionnées ensemble, qui ont créé Dieppe au début des années 70. Alors, à la base, le nom de Dieppe, évidemment, est pour rendre hommage aux soldats canadiens qui sont morts sur les plages de la ville de Dieppe en France lors du raid de Dieppe. Alors, on est très fiers de notre patrimoine francophone et on en fait la promotion. Et puis ici, c'est un bel exemple justement de ça, la maison de Joseph Doiron, qui était un notaire de la région. La maison date de 1841 ou 61, quelque chose comme ça dans ces années-là. Et pour nous, c'est important de souligner ce patrimoine-là de la région. Parce que M. Doiron était connu quand même dans toute la région. Il était très, très bien connu. C'était un homme important. Il était notaire. Alors, pour la communauté, c'est important que l'on retienne cette dernière maison patrimoniale pour la communauté. Alors, c'est un beau projet. On a eu le support du gouvernement fédéral, on a eu le support des historiens de l'Université de Moncton, M. Bernard Leblanc, qui est un historien de l'Université de Moncton. Et nous avons essayé de recréer un peu l'époque, ce temps-là. C'était vraiment un beau projet que la communauté dans laquelle la communauté s'est engagée également. D'ailleurs, on a gagné un prix, le prix de Jean-Jacques Roy, qui est un prix pour l'innovation. Alors, c'est un projet très innovant. Comme vous allez voir à l'intérieur, il y a beaucoup de nouvelles technologies qui ont été, imprimées dans le projet, qui se sont imprégnées dans le projet comme tel, et ça nous a valu ce prix-là. La ville de Dieppe, d'ailleurs, a reçu aussi un autre prix dans la dernière année, le prix du 3 juillet 1608, qui est un prix que nous avons reçu de la ville de Québec pour le travail que nous avons fait dans la francophonie, dans la région et au niveau, et évidemment, ça se reflète au niveau canadien. Nous sommes très honorés d'avoir reçu ce prix-là. Mais oui, c'est important pour nous. Je pense que c'est important pour notre communauté en général. On a quand même beaucoup de gens qui sont venus du nord de la province, qui ont choisi de venir à Dieppe, et ça fait la force de Dieppe et la force de la francophonie de Dieppe.
Oui. Et aussi, l'immigration est très importante pour la municipalité.
Encore là, oui, merci de mentionner l'immigration. L'immigration, pour nous, c'est également une chose très importante. Nous avons un service d'immigration à partir de notre hôtel de ville et nous travaillons ce dossier très agressivement pour assurer que la province du Nouveau-Brunswick maintienne le même pourcentage de francophones et anglophones. Nous savons que nous recevons beaucoup d'immigrants dans toute la région, mais nous voulons nous assurer et faire la promotion de la francophonie immigrante chez nous.
Real estate shouldn't be something that a tenant or a business is thinking about. It should be something that supports their business and improves their business. We look at our relationship with our tenants as more of a partnership. We're in business, our tenants are in business, and we provide space that we think hopefully will support the success of our tenants in being profitable.
So we're here today with Riverview Mayor Andrew Leblanc. Andrew, good to see you again. You're well into your first year as mayor, and wow, what a time to take over during the middle of a global pandemic. But despite the health and safety concerns that everybody has, I know Riverview's had a pretty impressive growth and development agenda in 2021. So maybe we could start off by just saying, recapping some of the highlights from last year and what you see moving forward for 2022.
Sure. So you're right, it certainly has been a challenging year, and we've actually had a record-breaking year for development in the town of Riverview, despite all of the challenges that we might have faced. And here we're in the Dobson Landing in the town. You can see the crane behind us, and some development happening over here too. And so there's been a number of different subdivisions and buildings coming up. We've had this one, and then Clayton Developments behind us too. Thrive is working on a couple of developments here in town on Gunningsville Boulevard and then down on Coverdale as well. And so we're seeing some really great things happening. I think it's people are starting to choose Riverview. They're starting to see Riverview as a viable option for residential growth, for commercial growth. So there's lots of great things happening in the town, and we have a lot to be proud of, despite the fact that we've faced some challenges. We've continued to grow. We've continued to build a community that people want to be a part of. People are proud to live here, and we're really happy with the level of growth that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about Riverview, it's been known for a long time as a single-family home type place, but just the number of multi-unit residential developments that are going up is really a new thing almost for Riverview.
It is, yeah, and we really want to see a diverse mix of housing in the town. We're excited to have options for people who choose to retire in the town of Riverview. We also want it to be a place where people are comfortable raising their family. It's a town for everyone, and we're excited to see the level of growth, the types of growth that we're seeing. There's some really good things happening in the town.
Great. So Andrew, one of the major projects in 2021 was the completion of the bridge over the Causeway, and there was a 6-month shutdown, which I know created a lot of angst and anxiety around what would it do for town residents and businesses. Didn't seem to be too bad, but looking forward, what do you see as some of the opportunities for Riverview of having now 2 new 4-lane crossings?
Great question. So you're right, there was a lot of apprehension around when the old Causeway closed and what that was going to do. Obviously the big one was traffic congestion and funneling everybody across the one bridge, and then of course the impact of the business community as well. I think in terms of traffic congestion, we have to give a lot of kudos to our residents for the way that they handled that situation and dealt with things, but we also took a lot of early measures to try and do the upgrades to the intersection at the bridge and make sure that everybody was completely ready for that transition as well. And so we felt ready for it. The impact of the business community, I think it depends on the industry. Obviously the businesses that are right here at the end of the bridge certainly would have felt an impact. I talked to many different business owners, particularly restaurant owners, who felt an impact because not as many people were coming across the river. But it's open. We're so happy to have the bridge finally open now, and I think what it means for us is that we do have these 2 major arteries into the town of Riverview now, and it means opportunity. It means that the easier access that we can provide people, the more opportunity will exist for our business community, for residential growth, for boosting tourism. We have a great opportunity here to try and look at ecotourism moving forward, and how can we capitalize on this asset that's right here. And try and do something with that for the town of Riverview. So it means a lot of great things, short-term pain, hopefully long-term gain.
So I guess the restoration of the river really does open some opportunities for Riverview and the other 2 communities in terms of turning back towards the river and maybe some economic opportunities there as well. Another question I had is around what the crossings do in terms of lunchtime opportunities even, or for people who might work in Riverview but live in Moncton. Obviously, if you work downtown Moncton, why not scoot over to Riverview for a lunch bite?
Yeah, absolutely. It's easier access into the town of Riverview, so having 2 major roadways to come in, it really opens up a lot of doors for the restaurants that are in in the downtown area for Riverview. It also opens up access for anybody who lives in Moncton that might work in Riverview, because we know there are people, you know, at Concentrics that are working up there. They're a large employer for the town, and so now they have a lot easier access to come in and get to their place of employment as well.
So Andrew, we've talked about development and growth, but quality of life in a community also depends on having some of those other amenities like open green spaces. I'll admit that my wife and I discovered Mill Creek Park in the middle of the pandemic. We needed an escape, an outdoor escape, and we found this place which really blew us away with the quality of the trails. Can you talk to us a little bit about what this means to the community, and also what other amenities around quality of life that you'll be looking for in the future?
Well, I think you, like many other people, discovered Mill Creek during the pandemic. This was an incredibly busy spot when life kind of stood still for us all during the coronavirus shutdown. So, you know, in Riverview, we always talk about how we're a really close community, about how it's about bringing people together. And that happens through the amenities that we have, through the programming and the services that we have, and through places like Mill Creek Nature Park, where we are right now. So we've put a lot of investment into the trail network here to give our residents incredible outdoor recreation opportunities. We have this, you know, the park here, we have the trail down along the waterfront as well. We have a really strong focus on outdoor recreation in the town of Riverview because it brings people together, it keeps us active. It's really one of those things that helps define our community, is that ability to get outdoors and enjoy nature and come together and do things as a town. And so we have the great lookout here, and this is typically a really busy spot, no matter what season it is. We have the ski trails, there's a mountain bike trail here, and then right down behind me we're actually going to be building a staircase to walk down the side of the dam, so it connects the upper and lower portions as well. So lots of great things happening.
So Andrew, if there's one big project that really may define growth in Riverview over the next few years, it's the Recreation Center complex. Can you tell us a little bit about the timeline, how long you've been at it, when you hope to start it, and what it might do for the town?
Great question. So it's been about 10 years that we've been working on the recreation complex now, and we're really close to seeing that project being completed and getting shovels in the ground. So we're near the location actually right now. It's going to be near the entrance to Mill Creek off Runnymede. And so this is a pretty massive project, and you know, between Mill Creek and the recreation complex, we really see both of these things as being a real catalyst to expanded growth in the town, to attract not only people who want to live here and set up a business here, but also to boost our tourism, to invite more people coming into the town of Riverview as well. So right now we have completed all of the studies that we need to. We've finished everything on our action list, and we are currently just waiting approval from the federal and provincial levels of government to get our funding from there, and then we're ready to go, shovels in the ground this year. So hopefully they are watching today.
Okay, hopefully. And obviously the town has some money in the kitty as well for capital costs, and I know there's a community fundraising campaign too, I believe.
That's right. So the fundraising campaign is going really well. We're very close to hitting our target. And for 2022, we actually have $9.8 million in our budget for this year in order to get that project off the ground and start construction. So we're really hopeful that we can get this across the finish line and get moving. It's not just a project that's great for the town of Riverview, it's also great for the region. You know, there's a lot of unique amenities that are going into it. We're obviously replacing our pool, which is the primary service that's going to go into the recreation complex. But we also have an indoor walking track, an indoor field house, and there's some great amenities not just for Riverview residents but for the whole region. We know that I think the last stat was 61% of the current pool users come from outside of the town of Riverview. So there really is big regional impact, and we're excited to get it finished and to get shovels in the ground.
Right. And construction timeline, a couple of years, is that what you're looking at?
The timeline right now is that it'll be completed by 2024, and all of that, of course, is pending getting the funding approved.
So Andrew, we're finishing off the day with a delicious beer at Holy Whale Brewing on Coverdale Road, one of the Tri-Community's finest craft brewers. And really, it's a kind of a good segue. This is a nice clear beer, but our crystal ball has not been very clear in the last 2 years. It's hard to think a year at a time. We've been thinking week at a time during COVID. But looking ahead to 2022, what do you see as some of the trends, some of the maybe highs and lows for the town in the year ahead, hopefully as we emerge from the pandemic and the opportunities that may exist?
Well, I think it's going to be a good year. Obviously, we still have some challenges to look at in terms of the pandemic, and everybody's still trying to adjust as to what does day-to-day life look like. But there's some great things on the horizon for the town of Riverview. We just approved our new strategic plan for the next 5 years, and there's a lot of great things in that document that really outlines some of the more strategic visions that we have. There's a lot of focus on inclusivity in the town, and what does that really look like? What does it mean? So when we talk about dealing with some complex social issues like the Tri-Community and really many municipalities across the country are looking at dealing with, we have to look at that as well. Public safety, you know, how do we continue to work with our business community? What are some of the things that they're seeing? What are the needs that they have in order to be able to flourish in our town? And we certainly thank the Chamber for your support and being a part of that event as well. So there's some great action items that are coming from that in terms of how we can help promote Riverview as a municipality of choice for businesses to want to come and set up, but also how do we promote shopping local and supporting the local businesses who are here.
Despite the pandemic, there has been some pretty substantial growth in Riverview over the last couple of years. With growth also comes a certain amount of social issues. So how do we maybe balance growth and development with making sure that those who maybe are in the lower income bracket aren't left behind?
I think the key to that is through collaboration. I mean, we've obviously seen that we've had a tremendous amount of growth over the past year. I think the signs are there that we're poised for continued growth at that level, which is a great thing for sure. But the collaboration is going to come when we want to start tackling some of these really complex issues. So whether we're talking about some of the things that Riverview has already done in terms of creating the Riverview Youth Network, for example, that's aimed at tackling key issues that impact young people, whether it's drug use, whether it's you know, bullying, or you know, even if we're dealing with things like homelessness. That's where the collaboration is going to be key and where we need to work together. And that's indicative of the kind of community we want. We want a community that comes together when there's challenging issues that need to be dealt with. This isn't something that, you know, any municipality alone is going to deal with. So that level of, again, bringing people together like we talked about before, that's what our town's about. That's how we're going to tackle some of these really key issues. And if we can continue on that path, we're going to be able to be resilient as a community. We're going to be able to create that vibrancy that we want in the town that's attractive to growth, both residentially and commercial. And we're going to have a strong infrastructure in place to be able to support people who really need help and tackle some of these key issues.
So we're here on the roof of City Hall with Mayor Don Arnold of Moncton. It's great to talk to you again, Don. It's been quite a year. Actually, it's been quite a 2 years for all of us. And during this period, there's been obviously some progress, some challenges. Just wondering where you see Moncton and its journey to kind of reimagine what type of community it can be and what we might see as we take those steps in 2022.
Well, we're really morphing as a city, we've gone from, you know, a large town into a serious urban center. And with that, we're seeing incredible development in our community, but we're seeing local developers and investors step up and believe in our city. And that is super powerful because, you know, it's a globally competitive world we're living in today. And for many people, they can choose to live wherever they want because jobs are so flexible these days for many people. So the kind of community that we have is important. So we need to work together to be intentional about the way that we develop to ensure that it's sustainable, but also that we keep those really unique and special bits of our community together. And that's why I'm super proud of the Higgins Block and what a local developer has done to reinvigorate this really important heritage building in our community.
So reimagining community is more than just physical buildings. It's about people as well. So can you talk to us about the role of immigration and even bringing people back from elsewhere in Canada has had on Moncton and what impact it might have in the years ahead?
Absolutely. We have very ambitious goals from an immigration perspective. And ironically, even during the pandemic, people are coming here in droves. In fact, the other day I was at the airport and there was a group of Latinas there and they were welcoming a family from Honduras. And they were coming back later that night to welcome a family from Ecuador. So this is happening every day in our community. People are coming from all over. And I am hearing, and I am sure you are hearing from our business community, that workforce development is a huge need. So we need to develop a community that is unique and interesting and has the amenities to attract these people from around the world to our community. And I'm feeling very confident that we can do that as a community.
We know the white paper on local governance reform was released late last year. The legislation went through. How do you see the delivery of services in the region maybe changing and really around the idea of tri-community cooperation, which we know there has been a lot of, but maybe we'll be taking it to a different level? How do you see that unfolding?
Well, first of all, I really value my relationship with the mayors of Riverview and Dieppe. It's a fantastic collaboration that we have going right now. But in addition to that, our Regional Service Commission, the Southeast Regional Service Commission, I see them taking on a bigger role in the future from an economic development perspective. It makes sense to my way of thinking that we do it from a regional perspective. But additionally, tourism, that makes sense. And increasingly, I think that social issues also make sense. We know that the challenges that we're experiencing in our community right now, they aren't Moncton specific. While we have all the services here, they are people coming from Dupuis Corner and Petitcodiac into our community. So I really look forward to that, having a grander vision for our community. But I believe very wholeheartedly in cooperation. I work closely with the mayors of St. John and Fredericton, with the 8 city mayors, with the Atlantic Mayors Congress, with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. And I believe that by, you know, sharing best practices, that's how we can keep the momentum going in our community.
Like you said, I believe at another time, a lot of the issues that we face in Moncton are specific to Moncton, whether it's homelessness or land planning or whatever it is. So do you think a regional model of service delivery while still maintaining the identity of Moncton or Dieppe or Riverview is feasible? Is it possible?
I think it's feasible where it makes sense. I don't think you can take a blanket and apply it to every place in the province, but already our region is in really great shape, and I think we can be leaders in this and really inspire others to work together.
Dans la création de communautés d'affaires innovantes ne se limite pas à la croissance de l'entreprise. Il s'agit de fournir les commodités de qualité de vie que les citoyens ont besoin. Nous sommes ici un parti de Parc Centenaire qui a été réaménagé en 2021.
Oui, nous avons toujours vu l'importance des parcs et sentiers dans notre ville et pendant la pandémie, c'était beaucoup plus important pour les gens d'avoir les espaces verts pour les rassemblements et les choses comme ça. C'est très important pour la santé mentale et physique aussi. Alors, nous sommes très contentes avec notre nouvelle parc centenaire.
Don, I guess becoming a more active city that encourages things like walking, biking, mass transit is part of getting beyond what traditionally has been a car city that maybe Moncton was in the past, or is it time that we made that step?
Well, I sure think so, and I think that decarbonizing the way we travel is going to be really, really important for the future. If we want to get to net zero by 2040, we're all going to have to step up and rethink how we do things. Well, we've all seen the importance of climate change, and I actually spoke at COP26 talking about the importance and the profound impacts of climate change on mid-sized cities like Moncton. So what we're trying to do, what we will do in February, is release our CEEP. It's a Community Energy and Emissions Plan, and it will really map out our way forward. We have a community group of citizens that have been helping us with this, and we're also working with the Global Preventative Measures for climate change. And the idea is to really look at where we can most impact our greenhouse gas emissions and how we can reduce those. And we know that the biggest change we can make is in the way that we travel. So really excited about active transportation, our enhancements to our public transportation, particularly electrifying our buses, that kind of thing. But after that, it's how we retrofit our buildings, how we build our new buildings so that they are more sustainable, and densifying our city, planting more trees, this sort of thing. This is how we will make our city even more sustainable and livable.
So Don, obviously COVID-19 continues to be the topic du jour. How well do you think we as a community have adapted and coped with this challenge, and how perhaps moving forward can we continue to work together to get us beyond this pandemic?
Well, I've been incredibly impressed by how our community has come together, helping each other out, buying local. Who would have thought? Like, we've really stepped up. But you know, as a city, we've had so many successes during the pandemic too. You think about Jessup Tools moving its entire, manufacturing to Moncton and bringing all the families that work there. Walmart choosing to open an enormous warehouse in our community with no government support. They just knew it was the right place to be. And I'm just endlessly inspired by the entrepreneurs that are risk takers. Think about Halo opening, it's always about donuts, opening a second location, or entrepreneurs like the Wellness Exchange, like ThinkMax, all of these people that have really stepped up during a pandemic. Tire Shack Brewing. That's pretty encouraging and creative, and gives me a lot of hope for the future of our community.
So Don, we can't talk about the state of the tri-communities without talking about growth and building permits. And I understand 2021 was another record year. Can you recap a little bit about some of those highlights, and what can we look forward to in 2022?
Yeah, so you're right. Building permits have been incredible. We're going to surpass 300 million this year, and that will break last year's record, which broke 2019's record, all during a pandemic. So that's a pretty incredible story. As far as transformational projects and where this has all come from, I wanted to just take a step back and talk a little bit about the Avenir Center and how that created a vision for where we could go, who we could be as a city. And I think it really built confidence in our local developers who are stepping up in a really significant way to build our city. So yeah, it's a great success story. We have some very inspiring, transformational projects happening in our city right now, but I think it all comes back to building that confidence and building that vision of what we could be.
This year, I know there's been some talk, some hints around a major development by the Ashford Group behind Assumption Place. Maybe you can't divulge too much, but do you see that as perhaps the next big thing for downtown?
Well, it's going to be a big story, that is for sure. And it feeds right into what our vision was from a downtown revitalization perspective to re-establish that grid and to densify a city. We know that that is key to make cities flourish. Our downtown is our heart of our city. We need to make sure that that heart is beating as efficiently and effectively as possible. So that's going to be a very big story for the future of our downtown.
So Don, I was talking to Mayor Leblanc of Riverview about the river and how it's flowing as well as it has in 50, 60 years. Do you think we might see a gradual return to facing the river in terms of economic opportunities?
Oh, I think so. I think I've always found our river to be beautiful, our chocolate river, the Petitcodiac. And now with it being open, I think the sky's the limit. I think it's a really unique characteristic that I always say, you know, the pulse of the universe flows through our city every 12 hours. There aren't many cities in the world that can claim that. So I think we need to embrace it in a big way.
So Don, we know there are a lot of positives for Moncton in 2021. But there are things like social issues, which I'm sure consumed a lot of your time. How hopeful are you heading into the new year that we are going to make some progress around things like homelessness and downtown security?
Well, John, as you know, we've been working together a lot on the task force for homelessness and downtown security, and I am feeling more hopeful than I've felt in a long time. We have 27 actions, many of which are already happening. So feeling really good about that, and the fact that we brought our community together, we got the feedback, and then we brought everyone around the same table. We have 26 homelessness not-for-profits, we have our RCMP, we have all levels of government, we have the business community, everybody working together to solve what are pretty complex problems that we don't face uniquely in our community. It is virtually every mayor I talk to in North America is faced with the same issues that we are.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Bienvenue à tous to the Q&A portion of today's event, and a big welcome to Mayors Lapierre, Arnold, and Leblanc. Thank you for so much for taking the time for us and our business community today. We understand your Oscar nominations are in the mail, so wait for that. We had originally hoped to have all of you in the same room, enjoying a delicious breakfast, networking, and asking your questions live to our three mayors. Then we thought we might at least be able to have the three mayors in the studio with us as part of the live part of today's event. Alas, COVID continues to have other plans, so today's State of the Tri-Communities is a completely virtual experience. Nous espérons que vous avez apprécié notre série de 3 mini-documentaires avec les maires. Ils ont été tournés juste avant Noël, lorsque nos protocoles de santé publique étaient moins sévères. C'est pourquoi vous n'avez pas vu de masque lors de prises de vue en plein air. So we have approximately 20 minutes for the Q&A. And this is your opportunity to ask one or all of our mayors a question that is just burning in your mind. Veuillez utiliser la fonction chat de votre écran pour soumettre votre question maintenant, et je poserai autant de questions que le temps permettra. So please use the chat function on your screen to submit your question, and I'll get to as many as time allows. In the meantime, we have a few questions that were pre-submitted when some of you registered for the event, so I guess we'll start off with those. So the first question is to all three of our mayors, and it asks, COVID-19 is still holding us hostage after 2 years in its grip. what is the plan for both small businesses as well as for our physical activity and organized sports in our community as COVID restrictions continue to change? Are there innovative and creative strategies to be implemented in the near future to better help manage the impact of the pandemic that it's had on all of our residents? And I'll start with Mayor Lapierre.
Well, I'd have to, well, first of all, John, I think you're almost ready for nighttime, you know, for nighttime, but those guys are in trouble now. I think it's, we have to live with it, but how we live with it and how we choose to act is an individual thing, as we've noticed over the past few days, what has taken place in some of our friendly cities. So, yeah, we change things a little bit, try to accommodate where we can, but generally, from our perspective, you know, we have to follow the rules, and that's what we've been doing.
Okay, we'll go next to Mayor Arnold.
Well, thank you, John. And I'd like to just start with a bit of gratitude and thank you, John, and your board for really inspiring leadership, really innovative leadership, as we've seen today. Just appreciate what you're doing in our community right now in a big time way. So to your question on business, we need to continue to support their shift to the new way that people buy and consume, from the way it was before to the way it will be after. So we'll obviously continue to support organizations like 3+ and the Chamber and others who are on the front lines, really supporting businesses every day with programs and services, training, networking, all that sort of thing. And we will continue to use our voice to push the province to support businesses in general and key sectors specifically. I think we all know that some industries have been, you know, more severely impacted, like hospitality, tourism, arts, fitness, beauty. They've really suffered the most. So we need to support these sectors specifically so that they do survive. And sadly, we do know that not all of them will survive. So we need to be there for those individuals and their employees to provide training, support, linkages to employment opportunities, and this sort of thing. Of course, from a recreation perspective, I think that COVID has really clearly demonstrated how important our public gathering spaces are right now. And in the video, we were able to see a little bit of Centennial Park and the Muskrat Trail. And it was really a value of ours all the way through that we made sure we kept our parks open. So I hope everyone gets the opportunity to skate at Muskrat Trail. And another thing that builds our community and helps people during a time like this is you know, the opportunity to gather outside. And I was at Centennial Park the other day, and there were just all kinds of families out there enjoying the weather. And I'm really looking forward to more of this. There is a national program for urban parks, really hoping to participate in that. And of course, the Shoreline Trail as a future place for people to get out and gather. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Arnold. And now we'll go to Andrew in Riverview.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. And I would certainly echo all of the comments that Mayor Arnold said in terms of just thanking you for the great work that you're doing to pivot during a really challenging time. And I had a lot of jokes prepared for a live speech this morning, so I guess I won't be able to do any of those, and that's it's unfortunate, but I'm no entertainer anyway. So listen, you know, I think in terms of COVID-19, we as a municipality have to pivot just like our business community is doing. It's really important for us to maintain vital communications with our business community, and so we have to make sure that we're adapting to, you know, using virtual resources like this to make sure that there isn't any sort of stop in that flow of information and communication. Obviously, organizations like 3+ and the Chamber play a really strong role in helping to facilitate some of that communication as well, and making sure that the municipalities are still really in tune with the needs of our business community. In terms of the municipality itself, we've obviously had to change our operations as well, in particular with our recreation programming. You know, if you look at our Winter Carnival, which is coming up on February 4th, and we would encourage everyone to check out the website for more information. You know, we've had to, our Parks and Recreation Department has done a great job pivoting and making sure that there's a number of activities available. So regardless of where we are in the various phases of COVID-19, we're still able to put on great events and provide excellent recreation opportunities for our residents. And so it's been a challenge to make sure that we're able to keep that service standard up for our residents, but I think our departments have done a great job setting the bar really high for ourselves. So we're looking forward to some great things still happening, no matter where we are with COVID-19.
Thanks, Andrew. We do have some questions coming in, and we'll get to those in a sec, but there was one preset question that I thought was an important one. So the second question flows from the discussion we had during the videos on social issues. This business person would like to know the actual KPIs or metrics on homelessness, crime, and vagrancy. The person who posed this question says, I've continually have to escort homeless people from our building. They're making an awful mess, and it isn't getting any better. Mayor Arnold, I'll go to you first for this one.
Well, thank you, John. Obviously, this is a huge issue in our community right now. And as far as specific KPIs from a crime perspective, being homeless or unhoused is not a crime. But I would consider the 27 actions in the task force to be our KPIs. And we are taking action on all of those. And this is all levels of government working together, the private sector, the not-for-profit, the RCMP, things that I'm very excited about. The future presence of an RCMP community officer's office on Main Street, having that presence, the RCMP presence on Main Street is going to be key to all of this. We have 24/7 community officers right now. We have 2 working all the time, and all of the businesses have their number to call. We're working on a complex needs approach to the highest offenders, how we can get them out of our system, and working on enhanced mobile crisis unit approach. We're advocating to the province for a mental health court. We've had I think there are 15 units open now from Rising Tide. This, as a community, we've really stepped up to see that, you know, housing is critical. If you do not have a place to live, it is very difficult to get your life together. I speak to mayors all over North America all the time, and we are certainly not alone in this. This is happening everywhere. However, our participation in these national initiatives, implementing best practices, will help us to get to our goal of zero homelessness, zero functional homelessness. I'd like to tell a positive story at this time, because I think that, you know, there's a lot of negativity around this. And one is that I recently learned that we have achieved functional zero homelessness of veterans after being part of a national initiative on this. So we are making inroads. There are successes. And the fact that we don't have any unhoused veterans in our community is something that we should be very proud of. And I'd just like to end by saying, if anyone has ideas, things that they think that we are not taking into consideration, we would love to hear from you and implement any solutions that you think should take place in our community. We are all ears, but we need everybody working together to take this on.
Thank you, Dawn. I know we'll go next to Andrew and then Yvonne. I know there's maybe a perception that homelessness is a Moncton issue, but obviously it's affecting your communities as well. So Andrew, if you could go next.
Sure. Well, you know, that's a great point. I think a lot of times all eyes turn to the city of Moncton when it comes to this issue, and we know that it is impacting us in our community as well, and certainly beyond in some of the more rural communities as well. And we all have a role to play in this, and so I think the challenge for us is really defining what role does our municipality play and how can we work together to develop a common strategy. Of course, You know, in the town of Riverview, we're also looking at, you know, policing and bylaw enforcement issues and making sure that we're addressing any public safety concerns that happen to coincide with this issue. But I think on a broader perspective, we really have to look at, excuse me, some of the preventative measures that need to take place. You know, in the video, we talked about how are we collaborating and how are we engaging the service providers in our community who provide some of these really vital wraparound services that people need. Because when we talk about homelessness, we also have to look at issues like mental health and addiction support, and what are we doing to really address some of those things. And I see the municipal role as being not necessarily a service provider, but a facilitator of bringing the key partners to the table. And we've seen great success in that with the Greater Moncton Homelessness Steering Committee. We're seeing great things coming from the task force that's been started that Mayor Arnold had referenced with those 27 actions. And there's some really good things happening on the ground already, and we certainly have to continue to build on that. We have to continue to look at these preventative measures so that people are getting the support that they need, and that we're getting in front of these issues, especially for a community like Riverview, where, you know, traditionally hasn't been a big part of the conversation. We're getting out in front of this before it becomes an even larger issue.
Thanks very much, Andrew. And Yvon, over to you.
Yes, for us, it's kind of the same idea as Riverview. We see it to a lesser degree than Moncton, but we're involved with all the committees and participating and supporting actively all the initiatives from the City of Moncton. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can tell you about it, because we are involved and we are represented, and we have a commitment that we've made to participate more actively in one sector, and that's happening now. So we're supportive. We understand it's not just a Moncton issue. It's a community issue that impacts each and every one of us. We see it on a daily basis. Like I said, over on this side of the creek to a lesser degree, but it's here. It's here.
Thank you very much, Yvon. We're going to skip to a few questions that have been submitted by our audience today. And the first one asks, quels sont des exemples de collaboration les trois municipalités ont entrepris pour assurer la croissance de la région? So what are some examples of municipal collaboration that have really assured the growth of the region? We'll start with Andrew first.
Sure. Well, you know, I think the comment's been made a couple of times this morning on the strength of collaboration in this this region. I think there's several examples that you can draw on that illustrate how well that works. Obviously, the Service Commission is a great one, where there's a number of incredible things that happen with the Service Commission and services that are provided to residents. We collaborate really well. We're already doing a great job on economic development and working together. We have partnerships with, you know, with 3+, and we have our own, you know, internal collaborations on economic development as well, and those are certainly expanding and building. And so I think there's a great foundation that already exists for how well the three municipalities work together. And I will also take this time to say, you know, even on a political level, as the newbie coming into the mayor's chair, I've had a great opportunity to meet with Mayors Arnold and Lapierre to learn from them and gain from their experience. And so even on that level, there's great collaboration and great support, and we're really ready to support each other and make sure that we're moving forward on a number of key initiatives. There's really strong communication, and I've been really happy with the level of collaboration that we've had, and I'm really looking forward to continuing all of it.
Thank you, Andrew. Mayor Lapierre, you are the senior statesman among the three mayors, and I say that with a great deal of respect. How do you see regional collaboration happening in the future?
Well, I think in the future, I hope it will be at the same level as it's happening now. The collaboration was not always at the level that it is now, and I have to congratulate the partners that are here now and the past number of years, but it hasn't always been as friendly. But you know, when you consider, I mean, after all, we share the water, we share we share the good water coming in, and we share the water going back, going back. So it's a real full circle in that respect. But you know, whether it's with policing, is another one. You know, we look at the Petitcodiac River. We share the Petitcodiac River together, all three of us. So there's a very active collaboration. When I think about you know, everything to do with the green aspect of our communities, I think there's always excellent discussions between the three communities, and it doesn't stop with the mayors. It goes also through our city managers and town manager. You know, there's an excellent collaboration between that team, and that makes it easier also for the mayors. So it's been a very good change.
Thank you, Yvonne. And Mayor Arnold.
Well, ditto, really. I mean, I always say that we are amalgamated, I said the A word, Yvonne, on all of the expensive things. Really, we work together on the, you know, whether it's policing, wastewater, fresh water, transit. That's where we are collaborating so heavily. And just to reiterate Mayor Lapierre's point about our staff as well, I would say communication is another fundamental one where our administrations work together. I think during the last 2 years, it's been really important that we have, you know, consistent messaging going out as a tri-community. So yeah, things are in a good state in the tri-community right now, and it's because we are all willing to collaborate and work together.
Thank you, Don. The next question from our audience is a good one. It asks, how do you see the increased focus on climate change affecting your community's approach to procurement and planning? And Don, we'll go back to you first for this one.
Well, thank you for the question, Emma. Procurement is an interesting one. I don't have a lot of detail on that. I'd love to hear some feedback from you, Emma, on that. But as far as planning, we are right in the stages right now of doing an urban growth strategy. And the goal of that urban growth strategy is to take those very difficult places that are left within our city boundaries that are difficult to develop, to ensure that we have a sustainable plan going forward, and so that we are thinking about how we can open some of those lands so that we can provide more housing and sustainable growth and dense growth within our city. So I'm really excited about that urban growth strategy. So that's one thing that we're doing from the planning perspective.
Andrew?
Also, yeah, great question. So, you know, in terms of planning for the town of Riverview as well, sustainability and green efficiencies are a part of our strategic plan ongoing. And so, you know, when we look at, you know, creating the recreation complex, for example, which is a big project that we have coming up, we're going to obviously be looking at what sort of energy efficiencies can go into that building and how can we make it sustainable. And we would, of course, factor that into all of our planning. I would presume that when we start looking at our municipal development plan, which is going to be up for review soon, we'll be also factoring some of these things into those planning processes as well. You know, it's a pillar of our strategic plan, and so we want that represented on all levels of the municipality in our operations. So, great question.
Great. Yvonne?
Yes, absolutely. Great question. And when it comes to procurement, it is part of the procurement process within the city administration to consider alternatives. So, you know, recently purchasing a new vehicle for a new truck. Well, the question was asked, you know, are we at the stage where we can buy a truck for that particular purpose, a big truck? I'm not talking about a half-ton truck, which is still not available currently in Canada, but we're talking about big truck, and the answer was no. but it's part of the purchasing process everywhere. Every time we go out for tenders and whatnot, it's part of the discussion, I would say, for the past 3 years or so. And it's always a consideration, and it needs to be. Obviously, there's changes every day, every month, every year in terms of on the procurement side. In fact, we just purchased a electric small bus that accommodates 17 people, and that's part of our long-term plan of having our bus service to be totally free of gas and free to board on. So it's a major target for us.
Thank you, Yvon. Unfortunately, we didn't get to all the questions. There's a great one about affordable housing and rent control that maybe we'll send to the mayors and get your response and share that with our people. So time is up. Je tiens à remercier tous ceux et celles qui ont soumis une question au maire. Je tiens à remercier nos partenaires. I would like to thank our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, Brainworks Marketing, our community sponsors, RBC, Commercial Properties, Inc., and O'Brien Materials Handling. Without your support, we would not have been able to continue this annual tradition. Many thanks also to Xavier Infantas of our staff for hours upon hours of work putting together the video footage, and Rebecca Preston of our staff for ensuring that we had all the dialogue translated. Et bien sûr, j'aimerais remercier tout particulièrement le maire Yvon Lapierre, le maire Andrew Leblanc, et la mairesse Dawn Arnold. They each took a half day out of their schedules just before Christmas to spend time shooting those videos with us, and then, of course, joining us today for our Q&A. There are certainly some challenges out there: social issues, lack of affordable housing, labor challenge, and the lingering economic impacts of COVID-19. But there's still lots to celebrate. Record building permits. We're among the fastest growing CMAs in Canada. In the last year, we attracted more immigrants than Fredericton and St. John combined. So let's move forward together with a collective spirit of resolve, resiliency, and hope. Before we sign off, I want to announce that nominations are now open for another signature event presented by the Chamber and the Hub City Young Professionals Network. Our annual Gala Top 20 sous 40, Top 20 Under 40 Gala. This will be held May 26th, in person, we certainly hope, and highlights 20 outstanding young people who are making our region a better place to live, work, and play. Please visit our website, www.ccgm.ca, to nominate someone you think deserves to be honored this year. More details about ticket sales will be announced a little later in the year. C'est ça. Nous espérons que vous, en tant que participants, avez apprécié notre 6e État annuel de trois communautés. With that, we hope you, as attendees, have enjoyed the 6th annual State of the Tri-Communities. Let's make a deal that we will be back next year in 2023, and I have in capital letters here, live and in person, for our next update on the Tri-Communities. Passez une excellente journée. Have a great day.